Hi everybody, it's Pit of the Potter again in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. I think I've got this thing a little bit nuts here. There we go. Alrighty, we can see everything here. Okay, today we're going to throw a big pie plate. A nice pie plate. We've been working here for years and years. Somebody here? Oh, okay. We're going to make this pie plate out of 5 pounds of clay. And over here, I guess you can't really see it, but here's my bag of clay right here, and I'm going to cut approximately 5 pounds of clay off the top. And we just shocked this clay here. Let me see what this weighs here. It's right about 5 pounds of clay. Okay, here we go. I'm weighing it. I'm sort of making it into a round situation here. Patting it down a little bit, getting the corners off the bag. There we go. And it's always good to make sure that there's no creases in the bottom of your clay right here. Make sure it's flat when it goes on the wheel. And also, wheel head should be a little bit damp. It shouldn't be wet, but at least a little bit damp. So we'll dampen up this wheel so the clay will stick on it. And we're ready to start to center this 5-pound ball of clay. See how we did here. Not bad. Just a little pat here in the center. Okay, not too bad. Here we go. Coning. There again, folks, it's right out of the bag. You know, when you pay for de-aired clay and your clay comes ready and the proper softness and all that other good stuff, then it's no big deal to center it right out of the bag. I was even over in Israel, and they use German clay and also some French clay, and it's sort of like extruded into the bag. It's like a little bit different than what we get in America, and it was sticky and gooey, but it really worked well. And wasn't that, I didn't think it would throw that well, but it threw pretty nice. Okay, well, as you see, not too much groaning and grunting. And here we have a nicely centered piece of clay, and we're going to make a pretty good sized pie plate out of this. And I'll flatten it down just a hair again. Come out. This is going to be a wide piece, you know. Okay, you see that? Not too much effort from old Pit of the Potter. And here we go. We're going to drop the hole. A little bit of water. Again, one finger, and we're going to sort of come down into the clay. And we're letting the clay ride along our finger right here. And we're creating a larger than just a finger hole into the piece. Now that was actually fairly easy, and this is, like I said, 5 pounds of clay. Now, this is not going to have a foot, but we're going to be compressing this, so we want to, again, like on a casserole, we want to make sure we have plenty left in the foot. So right now I've got almost double, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little more clay into the bottom of this pot by taking it off the side of the pot here and pushing it down into the bottom until we get the bottom a little thicker. Okay, and then we just sort of make this flat, and then we're going to needle tool it one more time to make sure we have the proper thickness. We want it to be about double what we're going to finish with. So that now is a fat inch for sure, and we'll probably take that down just a hair, a little bit too fat. Closing the hole. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm going to start to pull the floor, just some water, and come straight to me. When this ring of clay gets over where the rest of the clay is right here, we're going to recenter the clay by just pushing it downward and outward, just like we're going. And then for the first time now on the inside, we're going to actually deal with the inside and try to get it down to where it's supposed to be. Putting that clay back into the piece on the side. I'm going to check again with the needle tool. Still about double what we need it. I'm going to go down just a hair more before I start the compression process. Just a little bit down. Pull that weight of clay over to the outside edge here again. Just put it right on back onto the piece. It's part of the clay you're going to use. I've got the floor fairly flat now, and we're going to check it again. Can't be too safe. Alright, we're a little bit heavy, but we haven't done any real serious compression yet, so we're going to continue with this floor. And what we're going to do is make sure we're going to push down on the clay, keep your thumb against the wheel head so you don't gather any air right here, and you just continue to pull, and you're going to sort of roll the clay over as we're going along. It's sort of rolling over on itself. I'm compressing it to the wheel head so I don't get any bubbles in there. And I'm going to sort of scoot this over here. Still going to roll it out. Okay, now we're going to start compressing, coming out to the outside edge, pulling towards you. We're going to make this clay go back into the piece that we didn't use right now. There, it's going right back into the piece. Okay, you can see it. Okay, we're still not at the perimeter of this pot yet, but we're going to do a little bit of checking again. Just a little fat there. Just about right there. So we're going to pull it one more time towards the outside edge. We're going to keep the floor fairly straight now. Taking just a little bit of weight, moving it out towards the edge of the pot. Okay, now we're going to take that wooden rib tool, which is right here. This wooden rib tool I use right here. I'm just going to wet it, clean it off a little bit, and then we're going to compress the floor with this rib tool. We put the tool at an angle, and we're not trying to scrape up too much clay. We just want to sort of compress the clay. And you can see by the way this is reacting, I've got the pot almost perfectly flat even with just pulling on it. Just some compressions here to get it nice and flat. This should be actually the optimum width right now. So let's take a look at it one more time with the needle tool here. And there we got about a ½ inch of clay. ½ inch of clay. That's perfect. Okay, we're going to press out these little the circles here. Get them out of there. Okay, and now we're going to have to deal with the finishing of the outside edge here, which on this pot I still actually have a little more room to come out. So now this is about 12 inches of plate, around 12 inches. And what I've done now is I've gathered up the clay. Now this is almost the same process as a plate, and I've done a few videos on plates. But what you have to do on this is you now have to throw this rim. And if you start throwing from the very bottom, you're not going to have enough left to trim. So what you want to do is come up a little bit, like maybe a ½ inch before you go in, and then come up perpendicular to your fingers here, and then you want to lift the whole thing up into the piece. And that's the start of the pie plate right there. Now we're going to undercut this again with the sponge and a finger right there. Push it underneath so we can get a spot to pull, and we're going to pull this again up into the piece. Same thing, squaring up the edge, coming up into the piece. Now, this is almost done, except for making the pie plate.